Going for boost. Well, I think going for boost, if you're a boost merchant, like someone like AJ or someone, you go for boost.
100% of the time.
Yes.
Always, every second of every game. Ball's going in your net, don't worry about it. Go get the boost and make sure you've got the full 100 to celebrate with the other team.
Oh God. Never. Yeah, never. Always go for ball.
Yeah.
Number one rule of Rocket League.
Welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, where three aggressively average Rocket League players talk about everything RLCS with your hosts, Ace, Code Red Jack, Kyle Cube, and AJ Binky. So, if you've ever wondered when the best time to go for Boost Over Ball is, you've come to the right place.
Hello and welcome back to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. AJ and I got a special episode in store for you today as we sit down with Tryhouse to talk about how he got his start into Rocket League, the state of Rocket League in general, some ideas for Psyonix and Epic Games moving forward, and just have a great talk in general. So without further ado, we can jump into this interview with Tryhouse. We hope you enjoy. Welcome back to the interview. Today we are joined by Tryhouse. How's it going, man?
It's going. I'm exhausted trying to keep up with the grind of the stream and YouTube and everything. It's a lot, especially now with the uncertainty of what's going on in Rocket League's future. So
Yeah, no,
just trying to power through that anyways.
no kidding. For people who may not be familiar with your work, I'm not sure who that might be, but why don't you give everyone a little bit of a background on, kind of yourself, and then how you got interested in Rocket League.
Sure. So I started streaming Rocket League. I've been playing the game since it came out, like literally probably the first day it came out on PlayStation Plus, because I was a broke college kid, and so I would always wait like until the games became free on PlayStation Plus. And immediately I started playing Rocket League, and but Rocket League was like my favorite game for like the summer or whatever, or like the game that I would always come back to and play the most. But that and I considered it like my favorite game at the time, the one I grinded the most. But I know I was still very much a casual player, even though like I was obsessed with the game, or I thought I was. I didn't really start taking it seriously until I started streaming in like the beginning of 2019, and then within 4 months of streaming, I was able to go full time with it, and then I created a YouTube channel and TikTok and all the other socials, and it kind of just took off from there. And I think pretty much all the socials are pretty successful. I would say like YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. I'm like 460K followers on TikTok, 240K on YouTube, and almost 100,000 on Twitch, which that seems like the smallest of them, but that's actually pretty impressive by Twitch standards, I would say.
Yeah,
Impressive.
But yeah, and I've been doing that for now almost 5 years.
is that something you kind of foresaw happening when you started, streaming, or is this kind of really expanded past your wildest dreams?
Well, before I started streaming, I was one of the main video editors for a really big YouTuber named Preston. And so like I knew the potential for growth and everything was there because, I could see it. I knew exactly how much money Preston was making off these YouTube videos. I just didn't. It was only in my dreams that I thought that I would be able to sustain or like be full time myself doing it. So it started off as a hobby, but the one that I took seriously. And because I had that editing background and I knew how cameras and everything worked from my background in film and everything, that I did stream at a very high quality and consistency. Like I streamed every single day for months, and as soon as I found an audience, it just excites me. Like I come from an entertainment background, and so it very quickly exploded from just like pure passion. And I'd hoped that I would be able to make it full time, and I was blessed to have the community I did when I started streaming, because I was only averaging about 40 viewers, I think, when I decided to go full time, and I just had 40 right ones, that were there and believed in me and donated what I would call an offensive amount of money for me to be able to do what I do now. And plus, I had been a video editor at the same time that like I had started off, so I was basically working 2 jobs without even knowing it. And so I had saved up just a little bit of money, so if streaming didn't take off when I decided to go full time, I could always go back and find another editing job or whatever. And that it still comforts me today that if I, for whatever reason, had to if I couldn't afford to pay my video editors, that I could do it myself. And if people didn't watch those videos for whatever reason, I could always get hired by somebody else who's got a big audience, because I think I provide value in terms of like a video editing background. Not only am I a good video editor, but I've been a YouTuber, so I know like what works and what doesn't work. So
how important do you think having the video editing background was for you for getting bigger on like Twitch and all those platforms?
Oh, I would say huge, because back when I started streaming, this was before graphics cards had the new NVENC encoder, which like I think everything past like the 1080 series, like once they hit like the 2080s, 3080s, all that, they all have what's called the new NVENC encoder. And it's good. It's for quality, it makes the streams look good. But back when I started streaming, every Rocket League stream looked like garbage. Terrible. Just because Rocket League as a game, it's a 3D game where the camera is constantly moving. And so that's rough on encoders. And Twitch's bitrate is so low that, like, this is kind of nerd speak, but the bitrate is so low and the camera is moving so fast that there's not enough data for all the moving pixels. And so people were streaming off their old NVENC encoder and it looked like crap. But I knew of a way to do it differently. I experimented knowing that this was the limitation. And then my quality from the get-go was better than even really, really large streamers at the time. And I would get people coming in all the time being like, what camera do you use? And at the time I was using a Logitech C920. It's the same webcam everybody has. People still use it today. And all I did was like, I knew how to light stuff because my film background, like I would like the lighting and everything. The quality from the get-go, you never showed up to my stream and there was potato quality. So when I got to make my first impression, it was made well. And I do think that got me off on the right foot very early on.
That's interesting because I feel like a lot of times when you hear people talking about like they start streaming and then, I'm going to start a YouTube, but then, video editing seems to be like the limiting factor, right? Like they're not able to produce as high a quality content as they would like to because they don't have the video editing background. So it's kind of cool to hear somebody coming from the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's I was fortunate in that like everything that I had learned about video editing. Well, that's really not true. I learned a lot of what I knew from video editing, and I had like a safety net at the time. Like I was in college. That's where I learned the basics of video editing because I was making movies with my friends, which is actually where I got the name Tryhouse from. It's me and 2 of my buddies. There's 3 of us, so we called ourselves Tryhouse Films. And, somebody had to edit those things. So I was probably like the lead the head editor on our team. And then I needed a job after graduating. And so I found a job editing, not for a YouTuber at the time, but it's how it works. So by the time I became a YouTuber, I probably already had, oh my god, probably like 8,000, 10,000 hours in on Premiere Pro. And so I could problem solve most things and figure it out pretty easily. So definitely a strength.
That's crazy. But yeah,
Do you have more hours in Rocket League or Premiere Pro?
Ooh, now it's probably close because
Interesting.
well, also my hours in Rocket League are very hard to calculate because it's like, what are you counting? Are you counting me just having the main menu open? Because back when I was doing all my own videos, I mean, Rocket League was just open on my computer all day. Like, because if I needed to go in and grab an asset for a thumbnail, you know, I'd go in. I would rather just have Rocket League open than me have to launch the dang game again and get an asset real quick.
Makes sense.
Or if I needed to get some B-roll footage, I would just always have it open. So it's hard to track. I tell people I probably have like 5,000, 6,000 hours. I don't know. But even my alt account on Steam, which I like never play on, I've got it pulled up now, it has 1,300. And I never play on the thing. But I used to just like host tournaments back in the day where, I mean, I still host tournaments, but there used to be a bug where if you created the tournament, you could not play in it and then spectate. You had to choose if you wanted to spectate or play. So I worked around that by having 2 instances of Rocket League open, one on my alt, one on my main, and I would switch between the 2 of them so I could do both.
That's awesome. Cool.
Hey, I mean, it only took them like a little over a month to fix that. So.
Oh well, back then that was like 6 months.
But it happened again.
Oh, it happens to every update. Every update, and then the problem is,
really?
and every time it's fixed, you know, if you're listening to this podcast and you run tournaments, you're welcome, because every time it gets fixed, it's me literally DMing one of the devs and being like, "Hey, so tournaments are broken again." Like I'm not joking. Every single time tournaments have gotten fixed in the last like 3 or 4 years, it's been me. I've had to message devs personally to get it fixed.
I mean, it seems like they should know that it's going to happen, but like,
you would think.
I mean, we've talked about it. Like, I feel like we've danced around it a little bit. We'll get into some more like personal stuff and like specifics in general, but I'm very curious as to your thoughts and opinions right now. But Rocket League is kind of in a limbo. There's not like no one really truly knows what's going on. I feel like especially with the lack of new content in the game, tournaments are one of the ways that, you know, people who rely on Rocket League to make a living that aren't professional players and getting a salary from, you know, from an organization, like tournaments are one of the ways that you can, you know, make things interesting and keep people entertained. But
absolutely. And it's something that Rocket League does that not a lot of other games have. Like, not a lot of other games have an in-game tournament system where you can spectate the people. And I mean, we roast Rocket League for not having a lot of content, but you look at other games, like I don't know if Fortnite has a way where somebody can auto spectate a battle royale. They probably do. Fortnite's got everything. But that's a bad example because Fortnite is very innovative with the tools that they add to the game. But we take a lot of things for granted. But that system is actually really cool and something that streamers can do and maintain build a community with. I mean, I still do tournaments at the beginning of every single one of my streams. I usually start off with a viewer tournament because it creates a community environment. But yeah, tournaments are the best. And every time they break, I'm like, it's like you don't care about us.
Well, I mean, it's kind of it's kind of showing that they don't, for a lot of people at least, right? So we'll talk about the big one now. The announcement came on not even the main Twitter, but like one of the subsidiary Twitter accounts for Rocket League, that they're removing trading. And the very next 2 tweets, with no additional information, no more transparency over what is happening, the next 2 tweets from Rocket League have been for the NFL Fan Pack and the Lightning McQueen DLC.
Oh, no. It's like the last 8 tweets have all been item shop related. Yeah, I mean, I'll go to Rocket League Twitter right now. I'm pretty sure every single tweet that has been on the main channel. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my God, 9,
Jesus.
10, 11,
Oh man.
12. 12.
Oh,
The last 12
no.
tweets have all been related to item shop purchases, and the only other one breaking that up has been the announcement of them removing trading, and that was just a retweet on their main account. But yeah, that's the hammer that they brought down. And
Yeah.
here's the thing: there's a lot of speculation on. I'm sorry. Was there a question that I interrupted? There might have been a question.
No, that's
Not
it.
for
Like
me.
the lack of transparency, the like seemingly disinterest in like providing any transparency or like explaining themselves at all.
Yeah.
I just wanted thoughts.
There are a lot of thoughts and speculation as to why player-to-player trading was removed, and some of them are valid. Like there are very valid reasons that trading should be removed. It's kind of been leaked or known that of Rocket League Racing, which is going to be in Fortnite. That's going to be releasing in December, I think, is what was the leak, if the leaks are to be believed. And the rumor is that you will have a cross-platform inventory from Rocket League to Fortnite. So, and you can actually use your presets that are in Rocket League in Fortnite. Yes, I believe that's the rumor.
That's
Now-
what I've heard as
That's what
well.
I've heard. Yeah.
Which for me is like, that makes sense, because a lot of people are just like, oh my God, you're removing trading. I know, because I've got a relationship with some of the devs and I've talked to them about this, that the majority of support tickets that Rocket League /Psyonix /Epic Games has to handle for Rocket League is related to accounts being stolen and inventories being stolen, and all the negative results associated with player-to-player trading, including like the whole. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Alpha Boost scam
Yeah.
Yeah.
that went on for like, I don't even know how long. I think the guy made like 6 figures off of the scam. Oh, it's
Yeah.
not a scam. He didn't scam players. He scammed Rocket League. But
Yeah.
it's like there's a lot of negative things associated with trading, that most of the negativity is the burden is on the dev team. Now, imagine adding cross-platform inventory for Rocket League and Fortnite. Fortnite doesn't allow trading, but if you wanted a super cool item for the Rocket League Racing variant in Fortnite, then you're going to get all these people that are in the Fortnite community, which is so much larger than Rocket League. And then people are going to try to scam Rocket League accounts just so they can have special items in Fortnite. And I imagine it would create a complete disaster for the dev team if they were to do that, because then account linking and everything would be scuffed. I imagine it would create a lot of back-end work. And they're certainly not going to add trading to Fortnite. Why would they add more work and more nightmare for themselves to a game that isn't broken? Like, Fortnite makes money. So why would they change it when nobody's asking for it, So
That would be a nightmare.
Yeah, imagine people, stupid kids are already getting their accounts stolen just for the V-Bucks that are on them or something. Like, imagine if you could steal their items from like early on in the game, or any of that, and especially at the magnitude with which Fortnite is, So I understand if that is the reason that they decided to axe trading. However, nobody from Epic Games really communicated that. All that was said is that it was within, I've got it pulled up right here, that it is in line with Epic Games policy, or where is it? Epic Games' overall approach to game cosmetics and item shop policies, where items aren't tradable, transferable, or sellable. And they said this opens up future plans for some Rocket League vehicles to come to other Epic Games over time, supporting cross-game ownership. And it's like, I've also heard, this is way before trading was even announced that it's getting removed. I have long heard, and this obviously could have been subject to change, that the version of Unreal Engine 5 Rocket League that everybody's been waiting for isn't going to be like we think it is. It's not going to be, a standalone client like we have now for Rocket League. What's going to happen is it's going to be, I've never played these games because I'm not a nerd, but it's going to be like League of Legends and Teamfight Tactics.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
Is like, because I believe you have to launch the client and then you choose League of Legends or Teamfight Tactics, but they're in the same client. And I think that's that's the long-term future of Rocket League. Like, Rocket League Racing is probably just the stepping stone. And I understand that they can't disclose all that information just in case plans change. They don't want to give false promises, all this. But just some transparency towards the issue.
Do you think once they release whatever it is gonna, like the Rocket League Racing or whatever, do you think they'll like go back and say this is why we removed trading or something like that?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
The main thing here is Rocket League has community managers. They have people that they pay, I would assume, a pretty good amount of money to talk to the community and handle the PR for the community. And the fact that none of them are really able to say anything right now probably means there's a lot of legal red tape going on. And when it comes to in-game cosmetics, I believe Epic Games has gone through many lawsuits concerning in-game cosmetics of class action status, like where they've had to do, millions of dollars of paying out back to people for just like slight marketing, like marketing things that could have been misleading or whatever, So Epic Games has a big history of people taking advantage of how big of a company they are and suing them over petty item stuff. So I think this announcement came out within a certain deadline that I'm sure their lawyers decided was like, gave people enough time to, that it was going to minimize the risk of lawsuits, I would imagine. And the fact that the community managers haven't said anything is probably because they don't want people to get the idea that they could just sue them over this decision. I would imagine. That's my thoughts, my speculation. Because
that makes sense.
Yeah, and it makes sense, but they can't say anything. Now, they have community people that aren't saying anything for a reason. And the only time people don't talk about stuff is when there's NDAs involved or jobs could be lost as a result. So it's got to be pretty big. And I'm assuming they're worried about saying the wrong thing and getting sued over it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the person who was like kind of cryptic about talking about Rocket League Racing, like, I mean, I feel like any kind of communication is going to be better than what it's been, right? So like for RLCS, hey, we're still working on some stuff on the back end. Expect an announcement middle to end of January of next year to get the ball rolling. Like, that's not telling anybody anything, but that also at the same time is telling everybody everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Whoever is tying the community managers' hands up they're the ones that need to be held accountable for this, because it's like, they've got to say something. And so far we haven't got nothing. Obviously, like, I mean, if you look at the big picture here, Epic Games just released the OG season of Fortnite, or like the OG map into Fortnite. Like, what was it, like 2 or 3 days ago?
Yeah.
Like, I'm assuming Epic Games had their hands full with that. Like, when you look at it, I mean, they knew the kind of numbers that was going to bring in. I'm sure that was where their focus was, and for good reason. I mean, they had how many concurrent players was it? Like 7-something million concurrent players.
Jeez.
Like, the amount of money they must have made, and like the first day alone was probably more than Rocket League has made in a year. Like,
yeah.
So, okay, that might be an overstatement, but a lot of money. That's
Right.
Yeah. So, I understand that Rocket League to them is just a side hoe, but just some communication would be nice.
Yeah.
It would be. Good lord. All right. UE5 Rocket League releases. Everything's hunky dory. And then 6 months later, Rocket League's dead, 0 players. Everything goes to shit. What's next for Tryhouse?
Well, first of all, I don't think it would go to. If we get Unreal Engine 5,
I'm talking
just,
hypotheticals here.
Yeah, that just solidifies Rocket League. And again,
yeah, exactly.
If we get Unreal Engine 5 in the Fortnite client, sorry, this is a side note. If we get Unreal Engine 5 in the Fortnite client with creative mode, I could care less about trading being gone, because we just got infinite content hack. Because
that would be the best thing that has ever or will ever happen to Rocket
exactly,
League.
And I'm hoping that's why the dev team has been so quiet about what's going on, because they know they can take the L right now, because they're going to bounce back from it. But then again, that's me being optimistic, and I don't want to get too hopeful, because I mean, if it's more than a year out. Okay, let me get back to your original question. Sorry. If Rocket League dies, what's next for me? Well, there's a game that just ended their open beta yesterday, and it's called The Finals, and it's got me in a semi-sexual chokehold. I freaking love the game. I grinded it. I think it was only out for 2 weeks, the open beta, and I missed three of those days because I was at a wedding, and I think I put in 70 hours in 11 days. Yeah, I really grinded. I got to the top league of it. Not all the way through the league, but I got to the top one. So maybe that. I've thought about transitioning to some more like Reacts content. I've actually got a Reacts channel like that I'm trying to get off the ground. And
that's right.
It's a lot of work to do, but one of the benefits of doing YouTube and Twitch and all this is that you have a follower base. Like I would transition to either a different game or to IRL content. Something that I think I could figure it out. I've got a big enough audience where I wouldn't be starting from ground zero.
Right. So let's go back to UE5 and the whole creative mode and whatnot. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, it's what we've been asking for, or what I've been asking for since the game, since I was started content for Rocket League. I'm looking over at Fortnite, and I used to edit for Preston back when creative, like I edited the first videos of creative mode. Like Preston was one of like I forget how many creators they invited out to test creative mode, but I was editing the videos. I had to sign an NDA to edit those creative mode videos, because we had to edit them before it was announced it was coming out. That way, the day they dropped, all the YouTubers could release the videos.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, and so and once creative mode dropped, oh my god, like the pipeline for YouTube content is endless and straightforward.
When did creative mode come out for Fortnite?
Probably Let me see. I started Rocket League 2018, probably. Yeah.
And did that? I mean, that had to have like exploded the user base for Fortnite, right?
Well, I don't know if I mean, it definitely exploded it to some extent, but the main thing is what it did was it kept the player base. Because if you look at most like hyper successful games, they usually center around user driven content. And I mean, hell, League of Legends, Dota, that is a game that is entirely ripped off of a user made game in like not World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3. I used to play that game.
True.
That and I played that in like the battle.net servers back in the day. I mean the tower defense games that you see around, like those were made in Warcraft by users. And it's like, so every game that has a long-term player base usually allows for user-generated content. And so I mean, Rocket League already benefits from having an addicted fan base. Like, for how small the player base is, it's got a very high floor in terms of active players and returning players. It's a very high floor for how simple the game is. Like, Psyonix truly, caught lightning. It's the game is just inherently fun to play at its core, and I think that's why you don't see Rocket League taking a lot of risks with content, because they don't need to. People are addicted to the game by its nature. But put in creative, like, that's why when they mess with all these LTMs and stuff, it's like LTMs are great, but their utilization of them is ass. And then if they would just give us creative mode, we'll make the LTMs. Like, freaking Lethamyr, that nerd. I love Leth. Lethamyr, that nerd. He will create more content for Rocket League than anybody from Psyonix ever has. Like,
he almost already is.
I mean, he is. Like, but I mean, like, oh my god, yeah, like. Let him cook, like, Lethamyr knows what he's doing. And hell, I would make maps if there was a bigger market for it. But right now, only PC players can do it. And I think PC players only make up like 20% of the player base or something. I forget what statistic it is, but it's low. Like, most of the player base is on console. And so yeah, it's like, creative mode for sure would solidify the game long term, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see creative mode. I think it certainly, brings a lot of people back. You mentioned the OG Fortnite map. They broke their record for most concurrent players at peaking like just under 5 million. Which is insane for as old, like, that's for a game, that old. But then, like, you bring up League of Legends and Dota, right? Those games fundamentally haven't changed since they've been released.
Yeah.
They add new champions or heroes. They, rebalance things. They add new items, but the core fundamental gameplay doesn't change. That's a model Rocket League can get behind, because, like, the fundamental gameplay doesn't change.
Well, they do add new champions, right?
Yeah, but they don't change the way the game works. They just change how things interact,
but the champions is different, because that creates new metas. Exactly. So it's like the gameplay tweak. Actually, I think they did tweak it a little bit, but you're right. Like, the core concept isn't different. Rocket League, however, can't do that. It's
but what about with limited time modes? Right. Well, so there's like a meta for drop shot, for hoops, for snow day. That's different than, for Rumble. I mean, dear God, like, you see like the Sunless videos and other people's videos about, the hardcore Rumble, like Rumble pros in quotes, stuff like that. Like, those are different metas, but they're not like, they haven't like fundamentally changed the game.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something that the way obviously I'm biased, I'm a hoops main, but the way Rocket League handles extra modes and LTMs is downright freaking horrendous. Like, first of all,
Insulting.
the extra modes in themselves, like if you look at the UI when you open up Rocket League, there's casual, competitive, and then tournaments, and then there's like training, custom, extra modes. And it's like, when you throw it down there with like, training and everything else, extra modes looks like it's almost like a settings menu. Like when you click it, it'll have like different settings, not an actual ranked game. It's like even the UI makes extra modes an afterthought. I think the UI for Rocket League needs a big change. Firstly, where all the ranked modes are next to each other, and then there's the casual modes, which I mean I hate casual. Like there's a player base for it. I don't like casuals. But the LTMs, for me, there is not. I, who am so desperate for content, cannot play an LTM. They are. I mean, I played Spike Rush when it was out. I love Spike Rush, but there's no incentive to play it. They don't even give you a special, like all they would have to do is be like, if you get 5 wins in Spike Rush while it's in the game, you get a special topper. Like make it a spike topper. I don't know. And I would be like, sure, some incentive to play this. Cool. But they don't even do that. It's like, it's such bare minimum. They're just like, well, it's in here. You can queue it or you cannot queue it, but you don't get a banner. There's not a player tag. I've always thought, while the LTM's out for 2 weeks, give you a special title for it, like Spike Rush Champion or something. If you get to
that would be cool.
And make it like a condensed rank system, make it 3 ranks, where it's like just for the LTMs,
or even just a leaderboard for wins, and then the top, however many people get
it. It's so minimal effort. I mean that's why people grind tournaments. Well, they do it for the tournament credits as well, so they can get the items. But there's people who grind tournaments just for that little title that they won one. Otherwise, who would give a shit about tournaments? They incentivized it a little bit. Do that with the LTMs. And just like, I mean, for 2 weeks, you're going to have a hyper-focused player base.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I mean, it gives people a reason to boot up the game and play.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. Or like experience new content and for people to want it to come back. I I just grinded the finals for 70 hours because I was trying to get to the top rank. I wanted that. And I put in 70 hours of my time. I definitely wouldn't have done that had there not been some sort of incentive. And the items that I played in the beta, they transfer over when the game is fully released. And so it adds that. I mean, they're experts at this. They added an item shop, which gives you a false sense of FOMO. Like, if you don't get the item now, you're never going to get it. It's like, just do that with your LTMs. We ask for content. It's just like, Knockout Spectacular. I don't play it because I'm currently grinding for this other rank.
I mean, and that's the thing that kind of bothers me. The limited time modes, if you in a vacuum, they do a good job. Spike Rush, great mode. I really liked Beach Ball when Beach Ball came out. Knockout was really innovative. I
love Knockout.
They do a good job at coming up with the modes, but there's no incentive other than the first well, I'll jump in and try it. This is new. I'll play a game, and you're like, okay, that was kind of cool, but why do I?
Time to get to GC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or do any of the other weekly challenges or any I don't know. The people that are making the decisions at Rocket League, they just need to sit down and talk to a creator and somebody who's really got their ear to the community and not from a business standpoint. And there could be, because from a business standpoint, it's like if you're asking your employees are they're not going to be as focused on it, or they're not going to have as close of an ear to what the community really wants.
Try, you got to bail it too.
Somewhere around there.
Okay. Is there any question that you've never been asked in an interview that you'd want us to ask?
I actually don't know. I don't know.
What a
I've never
meta
thought about
question.
that. Yeah. I don't think so.
Okay. What's the weirdest question you've been asked in an interview?
Oh man. I don't know if I've been interviewed that much. I can't I can't think of a particularly weird question. Nothing jumps out at me.
All right, I'm gonna hit Chat GPT to find a weird question for you then.
Brilliant.
Okay, well, I got a different question then. Do you have a favorite Rocket League memory? Like, I'll put it this way, right? In the game, and then also, like, in person, like going to events.
Okay. Yeah, in the game for sure. The first one, I mean, there's a ton. But the first one that comes to mind is winning the first Twitch Rivals that I was in for Rocket League. It was me and Gyro versus, I believe it's Tristan and Corrupted G. And on paper, Gyro and I lose that game 1,000%. It's Corrupted G had just retired and Tristan was a pro.
That was E United Tristan, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was. I think he was with E United.
Jeez.
And Corrupted G had just retired within the last 6 months, and it's me and Gyro versus them, and I believe we win in overtime, and I score the game-winning goal. And when we first booted in the lobby, we went down by 2 goals within the first 15 seconds. And then I just put on what I would call a master class of defense. And we won. And And then we won that game, and then because they had used their pro player on that match, they couldn't use them for the next one, which is the 3v3 mode. So my team had the advantage. And or they couldn't use Corrupted G again. And so my team had the advantage and we won it.
That's awesome. That's got to be such an awesome feeling too, to know that you to be able to say oh, I've beaten a pro.
Oh yeah. I mean that, and just the pressure was on. We had, I don't even know how many thousands of people watching, and yeah, definitely one of my, and everybody was talking about that moment, and it got a lot of recognition for Hoops, and because we played in Hoops, and then yeah, people still talk about that sometimes, and it always feels great.
Yeah, I bet.
And then I guess in person, I'm trying to think of oh man, I mean, pretty much any LAN I've been to, especially the first ones, Worlds was a very overwhelming experience. In Fort Worth. I mean,
yeah.
I could not go anywhere without being swarmed.
Was that?
That was August of last year in Fort Worth, and that was. I mean, it was also memorable because my ex and I had she had just left I think the day before World started, so I was internally devastated, but then being surrounded by all of these people and signing autographs and stuff, it was definitely a moment I will never forget. And then all the other lands I'd been to were fantastic, but that was definitely probably the best one. Oh, and every LAN has memories that are just gonna be there for a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Worlds was, I mean, I've been watching since the beginning, but my first never have put the capital into going, so Fort Worth was my first LAN, and then have been to everyone in the US since then. But yeah, I can't agree more with your sentiment. It's just a whole different world, and it's very rare that you're surrounded by that many people who are so invested in the same thing as you. It's a really cool experience.
Yeah, for sure. That's why you go. You'll never forget it.
Yeah.
I get goosebumps every time they do Stacks does the intro thing.
Yeah, dude. Since he's started doing
Oh,
those,
man.
it's great. He needs to do them. Yeah, you need to keep
I
that
took a
up.
video of it my first LAN and sent it to my sister. I was like, oh my god, I can feel things.
Yeah. But like the people are just so fantastic, right? Like, you know, getting to meet, you know, all the different people, like getting to talk to Stacks, getting to talk to, you know, Subi. We bumped into you, I think, in the press box in Boston, and it's just like getting to meet people. It's just so cool, right? So like, I mean, I get to, you know, talk to and see pro players, and it's like you're a lot younger than me, but I still look up to you as a human being and as a Rocket League player, and you know, I'm sure like maybe for you it's the same, like you're looking up to people, but then also like everyone, you know, is recognizing you, and it's got to be a great feeling.
Yeah, there's definitely some yeah, like it feels very satisfying to see my hard work paying off.
All right. Turns out ChatGPT kind of sucks at coming up with weird questions. So this is what you get. If you had to choose an alternate reality where either everyone spoke only in auto-tuned voices or every day was a musical episode, which one would you choose?
Auto-tune
and why?
voices. Auto-tune voices. I mean,
Didn't even have to think about that.
oh, just music. Yeah, every day was no. We just wouldn't be efficient, you know. Like people would be singing way too much.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, yeah,
Stacks would never
3
get through his
minutes to say
intro.
one sentence.
yeah.
You're
Exactly.
through.
Yeah. I needed to be. I could handle people talking auto-tune by getting through things. Like, you know.
Yeah, no.
I could get past that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But we don't want to hold you up. We really appreciate you taking the time.
One more question.
Okay.
You got any questions for us?
Oh. Oh well, man, you're stumping me here. Sure, but what do you? What's your
anything, I don't
guys'
care.
guess? Do you think that we're ever? Do you think we're gonna get the Rocket League and Fortnite client? You think that's the logical play there? You think that's what's gonna happen?
Like from a business perspective, I feel like yeah, because as of right now, like they're getting the money, but like I feel like Steam has to take a portion of it, right? If you're playing on the Steam client as opposed to like the Epic Games Launcher, where like if it's in the Epic Games Launcher or in Fortnite, then like it's all them, like from start to finish.
Yeah.
I feel like having it like very easily accessible to Fortnite players is also gonna bring a lot more people to Rocket League.
Yeah,
So
and it's
I think
also
it
just
just
make it
makes
easier on
sense.
their dev team if their dev team is all working on the same client.
Yeah, exactly.
I think so.
Yeah. But
Yep.
with that, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. We really appreciate you fitting us into your busy schedule.
Absolutely.
I will first off roll out the red carpet. You know, tell everybody what you got going on. Plug any of your socials. I'll also put those in the description of the episode when it goes out, and then we'll end off with the question that we like to ask everybody after doing an interview.
Oh, cool. Hit me with it.
When is the best time to go boost over ball?
Always. No, don't do that. That hurt me to say it because then people actually will. The best time to go boost over ball is it's just never. It's like never. In a freestyle 1v1. There.
Okay.
That's the.
All right. That's a good one.
That's the only time.
That's a very good one.
That's a good one. Yeah. But like I said, thank you.
The most logical answer we've gotten yet.
I mean, Stacks is still pretty good though. He said all the time you got to have 100 boosts to celebrate with the other team.
Oh my gosh.
But thank you again so much. Be sure to follow Tryhouse on all of his social media links, which I will put in the episode description. But thank you again so much, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.
Yeah, see you around.
Peace.
Thank you so much for tuning into that interview with Tryhouse. We would like to thank you so much for listening. Please remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, join our Discord, rate us wherever you listen to podcasts. Also check out our YouTube, our Twitch, our TikTok, merch store, and Patreon. All of these links and more can be found on our website, www.boostoverball.com. Also, don't forget we have a merch store, and items are now shipping for that. So thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to follow Tryhouse on all of his socials, which will be in the episode description. And from us here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball.
Thank you for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website, www.boostoverball.com, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts.